There's nothing quite like driving your own Land Rover, but there's also nothing like fixing your own Land Rover. Welcome to the Overland Legend channel, where we talk about building and overlanding Land Rovers. In this episode, we eventually get started on fixing up this Defender 90. But first we had to fix some major unexpected mechanical issues. And then we rip the inside out, hose it down, and start the makeover. So I'm finally getting around to sorting out this 90 that I got about a year ago. You can see the video. I'll pop the link in and at the bottom in the description. And if I work out how to put it on the video itself, I'll put it there as well. But you can look at this. I had a good look at this vehicle that I bought and looked at all the problems that there were. But now we've decided to actually redo it, and I've kind of worked out that I want to do, I just want to get it mechanically really sorted out, which is pretty much what we've done already. But now the next part is to get the cosmetics done, so that's inside, mostly inside, and I've actually got a whole list of stuff that I'm going to start with. So that list is quite long, so I've kind of divided it up. There's a lot of stuff to do on the dash that I need to get sorted out, and then on the cab and the upholstery there's a whole lot of stuff. The roof, we want to actually change the color because we're going to put some white rims on, so we want to change the roof color. And then on the exterior it's going to be fixing up the outside a little bit so that this vehicle can start looking good again. So it's not a complete chassis rebuild, but it's going to be getting it to really nice and everything sorted and working nicely. So the first thing that I did is in the previous video there was all these wires and stuff, and so I've actually found now I managed to pull those out, and this is the result of that stuff that I pulled out. So it was, as I suspected, it was a remote locking system that was put in here. So this was the remote actuator jobby that was sitting over here for this back door. So yeah, I mean, that's, I don't even know if it's working or not. So anyway, I've taken that out, so that's all that rubbish is out, and so now I'm just sorting out these wires here on the back. And then this door, the main problem with this door is it's broken at the back here, and that's from that spare wheel carrier. I had observed that, so I need to take this door off and get it fixed and strengthened again, and then we can put it back on. So that's the main reason for getting this apart. And then the rest of the stuff is really mostly on the dash. So I've taken the carpets out. And then I'm just going to start taking the dash apart. So I want to get all of that sorted out, and that's pretty much where I'm going to start, is get all of that dash stuff done. The first problem was a terrible whine at about 110 kilometers an hour. Listen if you can hear it. It's a high-pitched whine coming from the transfer box. Some will say it's normal, but it's not. It's just plain annoying. I was determined to get it fixed, and I did. Thanks to the guys at the gearbox company who know their stuff. It cost a small fortune, but it's fixed now. The next problem was a diesel leak in the engine bay, and the prognosis was bad. So I've got a bit of a problem here because this fuel pump, injector pump is leaking. This little outlet here has got a leak in it, and I went to the injection guys, and they said that there's a little shaft inside which has got an O-ring on, and that O-ring, when it's worn out, then it starts to leak out here. So that's now just causing a diesel leak here, so I have to take this pump off. But if you want to take the pump off, you unless you've got a special tool to fit in the front to keep the timing belt in place, you need to take off the whole timing belt assembly. So I don't have that tool, but I also want to check the timing belt because I don't know the age of the timing belt on this vehicle. So I'm just going to take off this whole front cover, and then I'll be able to take off the pump. So luckily I've got the right tools that I got from Brian. The first one to get the crank bolt off, and now I'm just using this puller to pull the crank pulley off. Everything looked fine in the timing belt, so that was great. And I then took the injector pump off and had it fully reconditioned by someone who really knows what they're doing, unlike whoever did it before this, because they didn't do the job properly, clearly. And I got back a really neat injector pump, and I put it back in and it works perfectly. Once all the mechanical items were sorted out, it was time to tackle the aesthetics. First up was removing all the dodgy checker plate on the sides. Then I started with the dash assembly. This heater control unit is completely stuck, so these levers are not working, and you can see this one's actually been bent from being pushed because it's not working. So I think this thing's just rusted here, so I'm just going to take the cables off and then we'll refurb it. Eventually a helper arrived, which sped things up a bit.
Like stripped.
No, don't strip that. The rattling door window was sorted out by securing the window guides properly. The screws at the bottom fall out, leaving the whole window to rattle when the door is closed. I took the whole dash out to clean it all and made sure to video it so that I could get it all back together again. It's also in preparation of fitting a new Madman engine monitoring system. Then we started on the seats and the rest of the interior. It's always surprising to me how easy it is to remove everything in these vehicles. With a hollow shell, we were ready to get the hose and hose it all down. But not before we checked just how dirty this poor Landy was. I covered the electrical bits with plastic and then got stuck in with brushes, soap and plenty of water. The battery box was particularly bad and needed some special attention to scrape off all the old rust. The end result was pleasing and strangely satisfying, seeing everything clean. All of the door cards, window surrounds and other dash bits were scrubbed properly the next day to get all the years of grime and dirt off. A lot can be said for the construction and materials used in these Defenders. This vehicle is over 25 years old and I was able to scrub everything clean. It took a while for me to source all of the bits and pieces and parts needed to fix the broken and missing parts, but I have received all of them now. In the meantime, I had sent the roof lining off to be recovered and the cubby box and the top of the dash as well. The end result was very pleasing and it's going to be exciting putting all of this back together again. That's all for this episode. Thanks so much for watching and feel free to share your suggestions or ask questions in the comments below. And be sure to join us next time as we get this Landy back to glory.